Hi guys, today we are going to be looking back at the 2019 favorites and see if I still use them. It's so interesting to me with just how fast-paced the beauty industry is these days to see if products really stand the test of time. And 1 year really, like in the long run, is really not that long, but in the makeup world, I feel like a year is a very long time to still be using the same products, especially as a review channel who tries a lot of things. If I still use something a year later, that really means that I love the product. But before we get into actually talking about the favorites, this is a collab with one of my recent friends, not even really recent, but I found her this year, and the moment I clicked on her first video, I just fell in love and we just clicked. I slid into her DMs and we've just been talking since, and she is such a sweetheart. Her name is Shannon and her channel name is Shan Shortcake Beauty. If you guys are not following her, please go ahead and check out her channel. I would say that her channel is more like half and half beauty and fashion, whereas mine is obviously mostly makeup. And if you're from Shannon's channel, hi, my name is Annette. I mostly focus on indie makeup and colorful makeup, which is obviously what I'm wearing today and what I love, because that is it's just me in a nutshell. So please go ahead and check out Shannon's channel if you haven't already. I would say with her makeup aesthetic, it's more like affordable makeup and drugstore makeup, which I know a lot of you are kind of like missing on my channel. So maybe her channel would kind of fill a little gap that you feel like you're missing here. So go ahead and check her out. Her fashion content is also amazing. I love her try on hauls so much, and I love just how positive she is and how she also understands how toxic diet culture is. And it's something that's very important to me when I watch fashion content. I want it to be a safe space and I want to feel not judged. You know what I mean? So please go ahead and check out her channel. Like I said, let's go ahead and talk about the favorites from last year. This is going to be very interesting. I'm not going to talk about any palettes in this video because I always do my palettes separately, so I will link my ranking my top 15 palettes up in the corner if you want to go check that out, because I've already filmed and put up that video. And for palettes, I don't really ever go back to like older palettes. It's very hard for me as a review channel who mostly reviews eyeshadow palettes to really have time to like go back to older palettes. It obviously happens, but it doesn't happen enough that I can really go back and be like, have I used all of these, if you know what I mean. Obviously, there's still going to be really good palettes. Let's go ahead and get into the products that were on my list here. So we're gonna start on top, and the first thing on my list is the Gerard Cosmetics Slay All Day Setting Spray. So here's my spray from last year. Can you tell how much I've used this? It's not that I don't like this, it's just that I am so lazy when it comes to sprays. Sprays is not one of those things that is a step in my routine that I always do. A spray for me is something that I use when I remember, and clearly it's not very often, but I do really like this spray when I do use it. It smells delicious. I don't know, I keep forgetting, and it's like I put it aside because I don't really care for setting sprays. I don't feel like they ever do anything. The only times I ever use it is if I feel like I'm looking a little too powdery and I need to spray my face. And since I use the same kind of base products most of the time, I don't really need to do that. So I just haven't been reaching for this. The only reason why I used this a lot last year was because I love the smell so much, and then I got kind of sick of it because it is very sweet. The one that I have is the, what is this called? Mint chocolate chip scent, and it smells delicious, like I said, but I don't really want to spray this on my face every day. Like it's a little too much sometimes, so I don't know. It's definitely not a favorite anymore if you want to put it that way. Next up on my list is the Beauty So Clean Brush Cleaning Spray, and I love this. This is the one that I have been using. I do have this bottle still, but actually I have a different product inside of this bottle because when I went to repurchase this last time, they didn't have it in stock on Amazon where I bought it, and I was really upset about it, and I kind of decided that I wanted to try this one instead. This is the Cinema Secrets Pro Quick Drying Rinse-Free Formula Makeup Brush Cleaner. That is a very long name. But this is the one that I have been using. This is the one that is currently in this bottle, and I gotta say, I don't really like this, to be honest. I don't really get the hype. I don't think it smells very good. It has a very distinct smell to it, and it reminds me of something that is attached to a bad memory or something. I don't know exactly what it is that I don't like about this scent, but I personally don't like the scent of this. I don't feel like it cleans my brushes as quickly and as easily as the Beauty So Clean one, so this is still a favorite of mine. And if you're looking for a spot cleaning brush spray, get this one instead. I know so many people rave about the Cinema Secrets one, and it's really not that good. If you try them both and you compare them, you would know. So please go ahead and try the other one if you've been using this one, because it's not as good as people say it is. All right, next up on my list, I'm kind of ashamed about all of these. Next up on my list is the Natasha Denona Diamond and Blush palette. So I have my palette here and I did use this quite a lot last year, but if I'm being honest, I feel like 2020 was the year of blush, which means that I tried a lot of new blushes. I absolutely love blush. It's one of my favorite steps in my makeup routine. I have so many blushes. I always want to say brush when I want to say blush. It's such a struggle. But here's what the palette here looks like. And as you can see, I don't really have a lot of dents in this and I just forget to use it. I've realized that I am just not a face palette kind of girl. I'm just not. I don't reach for like big palettes like this. I really prefer my face products to be in individual packaging. It's okay sometimes if it's like a duo, I don't mind, but anything more than a duo, I just don't reach for it and I don't know why. And it makes me really sad because there are a lot of really beautiful products that are in packaging like that, but I just don't use it. So clearly this is not in my yearly favorites this year and it's really not a product that I've used much at all, which is super sad because the quality of this is really, really nice. It's just really big and bulky and it's hard for me to like store it within reach. I feel like whenever I have something that is out of reach when I'm sitting down to do my makeup, I'm not gonna get up to go get it. You know, it's like I'll just use this other thing that's like right in front of me instead, and that is always like my singles because those are in a drawer right next to me and this is kind of like stacked away, like further away where I have room for it. So I just don't reach for it, which again is super sad, but that's just the truth. So next up on my list is a brush, and this is the Sigma E42. Let me see if I can find that. So somehow I cannot find that brush. I don't know where it is, but I know I used it like a few days ago, so it's kind of weird that it just disappeared. Like maybe it's on my floor or something. I really don't know, but here's a picture of it. It's basically a small detail blending brush, and I still think that it is a very, very nice brush. Of course, as you guys know, if you're not new, my Refer brushes are my absolute favorites, and they are my go-tos, but I do really like my Sigma brushes as well, so I would definitely say that is it a favorite still? No, but I really, really, really do like that brush. It is at least something that I'm still always using. So there was also another brush on my list here, and it is the Makeup Forever 250. I think that is a liner brush. Yeah, it's this one right here. So this is a just basic thin eyeliner brush. It is actually one of my favorites still for just doing a gel eyeliner. I love using this with gel liners. It's just very, very stiff, but also very precise. I don't know, there's something about this brush that is just better than other eyeliner brushes. And I think that the quality of this is really, really nice as well. So definitely still a favorite of mine. Next up on my list are the monochromatic blush duos from Cover FX, and I have two of them. I still use these. This is the one in Pink Dahlia. This is just so beautiful. I love my blush duos from Cover FX. I think that they are wonderful. But like I said before, there's just been so many blushes that's come out this year that these have kind of like fallen aside and I just haven't been used as much. This is in the shade Mojave Mauve. Love this one as well, and I still do reach for these on a regular basis. Just not as often as I did last year because I have found some new favorite blushes this year that I keep going back to all the time. Next on my list is the Wet n Wild Loose Setting Powder. This was in my yearly favorites as well. I will link that in the corner if you want to go check out what my favorites of this year was. But this was in there, so obviously I still really love this powder. I just think it's a good powder and it's so affordable. And there's nothing I don't like about this. You also just get so much product, which is fantastic. There was also another powder on my list, and that was the Jeffree Star Magic Loose Setting Powder. This was before I decided to not buy from Jeffree Star anymore. And when I did, I basically decluttered most of my things from him just because I have other things that I can use, and I didn't need to be featuring his products on my channel anymore. I do think, however, that the whole cancel culture thing is just kind of dumb, you know? So I pretty much decided going forward that I'm not going to be canceling other brands. Like I feel like a lot of people, when you do that, you're kind of considered a hypocrite, and it's so hard because there's like this blurry line of where like if you cancel one brand, you have to cancel this and that brand as well, and I just can't be doing that. Listen, this is my job. I'm a review channel. I just want to review makeup, so moving forward, it's not like I'm going to be buying from Jeffree Star again because I've already made up my mind that I'm not, but I'm also just not going to be canceling brands. Like it's not a thing on my channel anymore, so I just want to make that very clear because I'm just over this whole thing. I think it's just stupid. Next up on my list is the ColourPop lip liners, and I still use these on a very regular basis. It really just depends for me when it comes to lip liner, what kind of color I need, and then I just pick one in my drawer, and it doesn't really matter what brand it's from. But I will say that the ColourPop lip liners are really, really, really nice if you haven't tried them yet. They're super nice and creamy, and they're just really nice. They're not the most long-lasting lip liners if that is what you're looking for, but they do a really good job at just like lining your lips and I don't know, just being able to shape your lips a little bit better, and that's all I look for in my lip liner, so I still really like those. The next favorite on my list is the highlighting palette from Lime Crime. This is in the shade Opals. I used this so much last year. You can probably see quite a big dent in this one, and this is a big pan, and I am not one who hits pan on anything, let's be real. So for me to have as big of a dip in this as I do, this was the highlighting palette that I would always like bring with me traveling, because I just felt like the colors would go with basically any look that I did, and they're still fun, but they're also not like super out there glittery, intense, you know what I mean? Like I felt like I could make these work for basically anything, so I love this palette still. Haven't used it that much, but I did also buy another highlighting palette from Lime Crime, and I got the one in the shade Angels. This one is beautiful as well. I really like their highlighting formula. You can tell I haven't really used this one as much. But I still think that these are really, really nice. I've just gotten a lot of new highlighters into my collection that I've really fallen in love with, so these have definitely not been used as much this year as they have last year, but I still do really like them. Ooh, next up is a foundation, and this is the Pretty Vulgar Cool AF Lava Foundation. I used to love that foundation, and the reason why I don't really use it anymore is because this year was for me the year where I got more into medium coverage foundations. That wasn't something that I had really played with in the past, and that foundation is extremely full coverage, so I haven't really reached for it since, which is sad because it's a beautiful foundation, and I do think it's really, really nice if you want a full coverage foundation. And also the bottle is just beautiful. But like I said, I've been more into medium coverage this year, so I just haven't used it, but that doesn't mean that I don't like it still, and I could absolutely see myself reaching for it for days where I do need a little bit more full coverage, which I really haven't felt the need to, which is crazy to say because I used to be the type who would always wear full coverage all day, every day, but it's been nice to just experiment with something that's a little bit less coverage and still feel good about that. Up next is the Natasha Denona Mini Bronze and Glow, and I thought this was going to be in my last year's favorites, but this was also in this year's favorites. I love this. I think that the bronzer color in here is just so perfect for literally everything, and I love that this can actually kind of be multi-used as a blush and a bronzer at once. It's kind of weird, like the color of this just works really well. Like you can just put this in the same place that you would put your bronzer and blush, and it would just look really nice. And I love the formula of it. I love that it comes in like a mini like this. Like I said in my favorites video this year, I'm not someone who uses a lot of bronzer. Like I basically put it like just right here and that's it. So the fact that this still has product in it doesn't mean that I don't use it much. It just means that I go very light-handed with my bronzer, and I still love this. Up next is actually two skincare products, which none of these I use anymore. And first off, we have the Revolution Skincare Antioxidant Serum and Primer. I went through, I think, 2 of those last year, and I liked them, but when I ran out last time, I just didn't repurchase it because it was one of those things that I'm not really a primer person, and the fact that I didn't feel like it really did anything for me as a primer, it was just a pleasant experience to put on. Like it smelled good, it just went on my skin very nicely, and I liked the act of putting it on, even though it didn't really do anything. I just didn't repurchase it because, like I said, it didn't do anything. So I just decided that I'm not going to keep spending money on this because why would I, you know? So I don't have that in my favorites anymore, I don't use that anymore, but I still think that if you like something that's more of like a serum consistency that's just kind of hydrating before your foundation and your makeup, maybe try it out because it does smell really good and it is a really nice serum. The next skincare item is the Skin & Co. Truffle Therapy Face Toner. I went through probably 3 of those, I think, but then I started getting PR from Good Molecules and I tried their toner and I love that one. And it's also so much more affordable, so I never ended up repurchasing the other one. Even though it is a really nice toner, it's alcohol free and I did like that, but I don't know, the Good Molecules one just works perfectly for me. I actually am an affiliate with Good Molecules now, so I will leave my my 10% off link down below if you want to, you know, shop from them or whatever. But I've been loving their brand so much, and they're definitely going to be in my indie favorites, which should already be up or is coming up. I don't know. December is just a blur for me. I don't know when anything is going up except for my collabs. So if it is up, I will link it. If not, it's coming. So the next thing on my list are some eyeliners. I have some here from LA Girl. I used to love these. Honestly, I feel like these have kind of dried up a little bit and I just don't like them as much anymore. They're still okay, but they're not my favorites. The ColourPop ones as well. I do really like my ColourPop eyeliners, but these as well definitely dry up after, I would say, about a year or so of having them. They do dry up to the point where they're a little bit harder to get into my waterline, so I haven't been using them as much. And I also got my Lethal Gel Liners this year in PR, and these are the ones that I've been using in my waterline instead of these now, and these just last so well. I know they're definitely not as affordable, but I do really like these. But not to say that I don't like these eyeliners anymore. I think if you're looking for an affordable option or just an affordable, colorful eyeliner, I think that these are really nice, but just be prepared that maybe you're gonna have to repurchase them after a little while and they're not going to just last until they're done. So just something to keep in mind, but I do think that these are still really nice. So I think the next thing on my list, it says CoverGirl Microfine Ultra Definer Pencil. I'm guessing this is a brow pen. I just didn't put that on my list for some reason. Let me see, do I have one in my cup here? I'm pretty sure I do. Yeah, I do still use these. My favorite right now is from e.l.f. I do really like the e.l.f. one a little bit more than the CoverGirl one, but the CoverGirl one is really nice as well. I love how, see what I look for in my brow pens is something that's pigmented but not too waxy and not too pigmented at the same time, but it needs to be pigmented because I have no brow hairs basically, so I need something that's really going to fill them in, and that's why I like this one. That's why I also like the e.l.f. one. I don't like something that's too waxy, and I find that a lot of drugstore brow pens can be on the waxy side, and I just don't like that. But these have actually become like some of my favorites, and I love the fact that I've found brow pens that I can repurchase and not like spend a ton of money on, because I go through these so fast. I probably go through a brow pen every 3 weeks or so that tells you how many brow pens I need to buy every year. It's a lot, so I'd rather not spend a lot of money on it, and I'm glad I found those. The last two things on my list are these ones, which are little rhinestones that I used to like glue on my eyes and I still do it sometimes. I think they're super fun. I wouldn't say that they're like a favorite of mine this year. It's one of those things that I just do when I remember, and if I feel like I need to add something a little extra, like I would absolutely put one like right here and right here, since I have very winged out eyeshadow. I think it's kind of fun to like put little rhinestone either like on the end or in the inner corner. Super fun, and it's definitely something that I'm going to keep playing with. It's just maybe not as often as I did last year. The last thing on my list here is the ColourPop Colorful Mascaras. I bought all of them and I used them quite a bit last year, but then as they kind of got older, I got a little bit scared of using them because, you know, with mascaras, you're not supposed to use them after like 3 months. So once I got past I think it was the 6-month mark, I was like, probably shouldn't be putting those on my eyes anymore. So I ended up decluttering them, and I just haven't bought any more. And I don't really feel like I miss them. It's not one of those like must-have products in my collection. It's more like it was fun while it lasted, you know? So definitely not a favorite still, but I do think that if you're looking for colorful mascaras, especially for your lower lashes, those were really nice. They didn't do much for my upper lashes, but I also only really use black on my upper lashes. So those were all of my favorites from last year. I do realize now that when it comes to lip products, I did a separate video about my favorite lip products from last year, and I looked at that list just before I started filming this, and I don't really use any of my last year's lip products now, just because I've gotten so many new ones into my collection, and I feel like with lip products, like, I always find new favorites. I always find new things that I want to play more with and wear more, and so for that reason, none of the ones that were in last year's video is a favorite anymore. I just wanted to say that. And if you want to know what my current favorite lip products are, just watch my yearly favorite videos from this year and I will tell you. So that's going to be it for this video. Don't forget to check out Shannon. She is absolutely amazing. I love you, Shannon. I hope that we get to meet someday. That would be so fun to hang out with you and the cats and just have a good old time and eat a lot of zucchini. Her channel and video will be linked down below in my description box. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to check out the rest of my videos and see if you maybe want to become part of my family. And if you do, I would love it, and hopefully I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.